Does circle mean changes or no changes?
Circle means changes.
Thank you.
Is the pin in 22, is that Oak Park?
Can you see that?
Sorry, the pin in 22, but that is not opened as an elementary building. I think it's just there because it's labeled, and I'll look to John to say the pin.
Yeah, the GIS software is complicated to say the least, and the pen is just still there.
But that would not indicate an open elementary school. We're still running under the guise of
Yeah,
the
it was counted 8
7.
pins and was confused.
Sorry,
Oh, that's
yeah.
okay.
So does it say? I'm sorry, I got new contacts and my close vision is horrible now. I really can't read any of the numbers.
What's the percentage for racially isolated? Is it
20.
20? 20.
Which one is 20?
So, well, Lake Elmo is at 22.
I really can't see.
It-
You just
Right
point
here.
Thank you.
Shelley, you can't be higher than 20% of the district average. So it's not the percent of the building, it's what your district
Oh,
average is.
so this is the percent of the building.
Correct,
That's
and
this.
so racially isolated is
These I can see.
20% higher than what the district average is.
So we can assume that the way this is set up, we cannot have a racially identified. Yeah, correct.
If you notice the capacity, and this is, again, not to confuse the work being done by the community design team, this is the capacity that we've used, again, with the buildings as is. You can see that Afton is full, and again, we don't expect growth there. We have freed up room at Anderson, at Brookview, at Lake Elmo. Lily is relatively full, Rutherford is relatively full, and Stonebridge. I mean, again, you still have some room there, a little bit of play just there on the higher end of capacity with opportunities in our 3 growing areas.
And so the over under, those are students' numbers?
Yes,
And that represents under the capacity that, in terms of the capacity calculation that we've been
It'd
doing.
be the ideal capacity, not the maximum.
Okay.
So going to 25 students per class.
Yep, current programming.
There's the one section, I don't see the number, but it's 32C. Has that been divided in half, the Brookview?
Mhm.
That
Yes.
number is in the middle. So currently, there is not a division there? Is
There's
that
no
what's-
houses there right now, right? Is that
Are we looking at?
32?
Brookview,
The top of
right by the
32C.
school, 32C.
So there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes and no. So there is no houses, if you look east of Settler Ridge, if you look west where it says 32C West, the first one, not the top one, but the bottom one, there is houses there.
In those little tiny sections, is that what
Mhm.
you're
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So you're gonna see then this fall in the yellow, and what you're talking about, the bottom yellow one there?
Yeah, and then
32C.
I'm talking about, so the bottom yellow is, it would be, that under this scheme, would be boundary for Brookview.
correct.
And then, but just to the north of that east-west dividing line, is that the road that's currently there? That east-west, just north of the pin drop? Is-
Yeah,
That would
that's
be-
a-
Yes, that
that's
would be the
the-
road that separates Eagle Brook Church, that's Brookview Road. So Eagle Brook
Okay.
Church is to the north and Brookview's to the south, correct.
Okay. And then in terms of existing homes and new homes going in, can you give me a little bit of explanation of those 2 quadrants?
Yeah, I got that update, working on right now. So, in that 32C in the yellow, that bottom one, so that's where that Pulte development is gonna go right to the east of Brooklyn.
Okay.
And so that we're gonna see probably a model a year from now. They're gonna start grading this fall. The idea is to start building after the frost gets out there. So that'll be a combination of townhomes and single family homes right there. But that's the development that'll sit there. Then, if you.
Can I
Yeah.
interrupt just for a second? Then the expectation for occupancy would be in 2021, beginning significant
We would,
occupancy?
yes, because we would right now plan to see just the model a year from now.
Okay,
So and they don't anticipate it being a fast turnover.
Right, so it might be a fast build.
okay.
It won't be a fast build, at this point, unless something changes.
Okay.
So we're actually looking at, hang on a second, let me pull it up.
I do have, John is busy pulling
Alright.
it up to.
Up the line.
Yeah.
Right now, so to answer your question, what we're anticipating is 39 single-family homes going in there and 73 townhomes
In the yellow,
in that yellow in this
32
first
C
phase.
south.
32C, in this first, it's called North Bluff, is what it's called.
okay,
So the first phase of that is looking to see 39 single-family homes, 73 townhomes. Now, I would argue the goofy thing right now about yielding numbers in Brookview is we don't have trend data yet. And even in the Teamworks report, it has, in the Brookview area, it actually has the opposite of what it is everywhere else, where it's a point, I wanna say it's, point 4 for a single-family home and a 0.5 for a townhome, which if you look across our district everywhere else, it's the opposite. So we haven't
There we
quite hit the cycle where we know, so I would, if it were me judging it, I'd look closer to somewhere in the middle of what do we yield in the Lake Elmo areas and that Brookview, I'd hover like a 0.3 is where I'd go for that. So every 3 homes, I'd stick to that at this point. So that's that one. The next one, Mark, to answer your question, if you follow where Brookview is and you go north to the next horizontal red line. So it's right above where it says 32C, is it 32C West?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so right where 32 is, there is a complex going in there that is called Sundance, and that's gonna be 218 units. They're gonna be townhomes again. They might have 25% of them online by this time next year, maybe 25% of the 218.
So they're digging now.
They haven't started digging, they're kind of in the same as North Bluff. From what I understand, that Sundance townhome may not even see any activity until spring. So they're gonna be a little bit farther behind, they're all townhomes, but that will impact that piece. And then right next to that is, here we go. Yeah, so you can see here.
Look at that words.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So what we're talking about.
That takes all the fun.
So what we're talking about, that first group, North Bluff, it sits right here. So that's the one I was talking about with that Pulte's gonna start, you're gonna start seeing activity there. And then right here is the next spot. So this open spot right here is where we're gonna see Sundance. Maybe next spring. Again, I don't think we can assume we're gonna see kids next year with that one either. There's also then gonna be follow-up where there's a smaller multifamily complex that's gonna go in right here. So
But note the green is Lake Elmo.
the green, that's what I was just gonna say, note on this map, all of this development has shifted into the Lake Elmo attendance area. It's no longer the Brookview area. So it's just gonna be this quadrant right here as these phases. I think this is a 3-phase if I remember correctly, ultimately, and it's gonna probably be that same ratio of townhomes to single-family
Is it-
homes.
John, is there a scale on this at all? So distance scale, I mean, do we know, from Brookview to Hudson Road, is that a mile? There must be about a mile.
Close,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah, let's just say close.
And then I would just end, Mark, by that North Bluff that's in the Brookview on this one, the total current count, now this might change, the total current count is 240 homes is the plan.
In
Wait a minute.
In that one, Shelley, right next to Brookview, the first one I was talking about.
So if you look at the pin,
But there we go, but you have to realize in this map, the line, and this becomes Afton Lakeland.
Yep,
correct.
so it's gonna depend upon where those next in this map, it will depend upon where exactly the future phases of that development cross over. But that whole area right there, that whole, right there,
This whole area,
the initial plan is set for 240 homes
okay.
in the end.
And what you're saying is that some may be here, some may be here. That, in terms of,
Is this a dividing line? So it's not actually Brookview Road, that
We
we're looking
believe
at?
so.
On our map here,
this is Brookview Road, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know that many of them are gonna cross
But
over
then you
into
have
the
Eagle Brook
2C.
Church on the flip
It's
side
almost
of
so
that.
it's right on the other side of Eagle
Right
Brook,
there is
right?
Eastview
Yeah.
Road right there, that's on top of Eagle
There
Brook
you
Church,
go.
so if you,
Sorry. So these are the parcels, and so when you get development, you generally have development on individual parcels. So we've tried to draw the line where we think the parcels are being developed.
Well,
Okay.
and realize, and you know, this is, again, this, when we're putting this together, you look and you say that's where all of that development is happening. And this map is based on what is currently there. And so when we're looking at Afton, you know, at capacity, and that development starts popping, we're gonna have to change that boundary again at some point, because it can fit now. But as soon as that development starts rolling in a year or two, or it starts filling up, that's gonna fill up Afton, which means we're gonna have to switch the boundary. The whole intent of this drawing is if we needed to relieve pressure immediately, but it's not going to be a scenario necessarily that holds us long-term. It's gonna be, let's shift for a year or two until it all gets figured out.
So, help me understand, Bob, what you were saying, because we know now that most of these are going to be slow builds.
Yeah.
How many we can anticipate? Because
So
it's
here's
so
what-
hard to guess.
So
right?
here's what the different, I hear, when I talk to all the major city planners, and here's what they're telling me, is the speed, so the first set of speed indicators is how fast they actually get the model home up. And then it's that first 6 months to a year of who comes in and purchases homes that then indicates what your build at. I think, if you remember when, 2 times ago, we were talking about the Lake Elmo area was building at about 117 homes a year. They're now up to 200 homes a year, right? So it's no more, there aren't any, I shouldn't say it that way. There are more homes, but the build rate has doubled with the homes we knew of. Just because people are purchasing them and now they can build that.
Right.
But Carl, who's the gentleman from Woodbury, said this would be at best, a medium build rate right now, for whatever that's worth. I think the timing to think about is more, the questions we have to continue to ask is, when can we see that model home go up? And right now, it looks like the model home will be this time next year, and I think if I remember correctly, they said, once the model goes up, you can probably expect to see 6 to 10 homes in that next period of time. So maybe that's between this time next year and spring of next year. And then it kind of picks up. That's my understanding.
So, I'm sorry, if part of this area is shifted into Lake Elmo, what's being taken away from Lake Elmo so that the is?
30, 29A,
So these here, so
they're going up 28 B and C.
they're going
I'm going to Rutherford, but.
Right.
28,
29A,
yep,
sure.
28B and C, which is in the blue, and in the gray to your right of the green. 32A South is currently Brookview, that would shift to Lake Elmo. So you're essentially just dropping down and pulling up to your, central schools.
And is there, I don't want you to have to print anything else out, but is there a place on the website that we can see how it looks now to know how this is different?
Yeah, we do have, and I could bring a huge map in, but yes, we do have a map on the website. I don't know if it breaks it down by parcel code, but I can certainly, we have that, I can
Okay.
get you that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful, just to be able to
Right,
see where
what's
everything
changed.
Do we have just an account of how many
Used to.
kids
300 and some, wasn't it, guys?
It was like,
Would be
it was like
moved.
10% of the elementary population, was about 360 kids.
Yeah. What was that question, I'm sorry?
How many kids would be moved?
Okay.
300 and how?
10%.
John, refresh my memory, is the draw is everybody gets sent home?
Yes. So the first thing we do is we send everybody home. The only error in that is
You
that.
wanna say what that, what that means for everybody?
Yeah, so it takes whatever your home address is boundaried for, and it re-enrolls students in their home school.
So if you're alternate enrolling.
So you would
then
start
just
that
go.
process over, so to the point of how many kids does it impact, in today's numbers, it would be 360. However, if you redid the whole alt enrollment process, then you have people in a lottery situation again, that may or may not. The 360 is purely saying, boundary draws shift, these are the numbers.
Yeah. And then excluded from that is anybody that's outside our attendance boundary. So all these little dots you see out here, they stay. There isn't really an effective way in the software to deal with those, but that's your transfers in. But in general, yeah, so we move everybody back to their home district boundary, and then we reassign that neighborhood this way or that way.
And how many students are outside our boundaries?
According to this 108, isn't it
Mhm.
accurate? About. I think this vintage is October 1st numbers.
For transportation, what is half mile or 1 mile walking?
Half mile.
Half mile as the roads, not the crow flies.
Well,
As the roads.
but if it's a busy road, it doesn't
Correct,
matter, right?
correct.
So
There are-
if it's a highway, they won't be walking across the highway.
Okay.
So if 360 students, to put them like in their home, that's how many are gonna be affected. Do you have a way of knowing how many would be affected as far as how many alternate enrolled?
You mean how many people we sent home?
Right.
I wanna say the enrollment numbers I'm looking at are in the twos. 200 and some elementary wise that alt into, well, let me pull that number, it'll take me 2 seconds.